Yeah, so we made our first short film last year and submitted it to the Oscars and Sundance. Sundance, there was like 15,000 submissions or something crazy like that. So ours just didn't even make the cut to even get considered to be watched, which that's understandable. I'll have to do a little bit of digging and figure out who's the person that does the actual watching of those movies, so that way next time we'll have a direct contact and we don't get lost in the sauce. You know what I mean?
Well, we did the math on that, by the way, and it's something like they had almost 16,000 submissions, and they would have to have 100 people watching the submissions 24 hours a day for 8 months to watch every submission.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
wow.
yeah, it's just not even possible to have whoever the committee is watch all that content.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So there's some politicking in Hollywood? No.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
No
Yeah.
idea.
But yeah, so that was cool. Learned a ton with that first project. It was a low budget short film, about Black Lives Matter. The script was amazing. Has a really powerful message. We had a phenomenal cast and crew. The kid, his name is Malcolm Kelly. He was the kid who played Walt on Lost.
Oh, yeah.
From forever ago, and he's just an incredible actor, super professional, really cool, down to earth guy. So he was a lot of fun to work with. Learned a ton. That was my first time being on a set and getting anything funded, and investing our own money, mine and Justin's money, into this project. So there was a huge learning curve. We learned a lot. We made a ton of mistakes, but I'm glad it was low stakes. So that way we can kind of get all the kinks out with this first run through, and now when we take on a bigger project, I have a better idea of what to expect. And then additionally, I could have gone to school for 4 to 8 years to understand, how to make movies and produce movies. And I don't think it would have come close to the experience we actually had on set, even though it was just a week-long short shoot. We got it done. We were effective and we were quick. But the amount of experience that Justin and I got was just, you can't pay for that. So it was great.
That's awesome.
And then the other projects I don't know if I'm able to talk about it, if it's going to be recorded, but happy to tell you about it offline. But
okay, cool.
We do have a couple projects on deck that are great with some big talent that we are excited to work with. Some of them are already partially funded, so it's just a matter of closing out a couple of rounds and getting them finished. We do have a couple that are already in post-production as well. So cool. Yeah, it's all exciting stuff. As soon as we're able to share a little bit more, happy to share it with you. And again, offline, happy to share anything with you.
Yeah, for sure. Now, we produced a short film in 2016, and we learned a lot from that process too. So a couple questions. What was, if you don't mind me asking, what was your budget for that film, for the short film?
It was a $50,000 budget.
Okay. So pretty good for a short film budget. Like, it's a decent chunk of money.
Yeah.
What were some of the key lessons that you would say that you learned in the production process of that film?
So the biggest thing is we need to diversify our crew. We had a couple people doing multiple jobs, and they're very talented at one or two of those jobs, but they're having the third job or the fourth job that they're also trying to do, just wearing too many hats. We're not diversifying enough, and we're not letting experts in that particular area do what they need to do best. And so just because we were trying to keep the budget low,
Yep.
Communication is another big thing. And us being the producers, we need to have a better grasp on, who is doing what, and delegating a little bit better than what we currently did. And just having more clear, direction and goals of what we need to accomplish. Yeah. And then again, the communication, there was a couple things that in post-production that weren't communicated very well. And I think that affected the quality of the script. Not to say that the script was or the movie was bad. I think there was there were areas of improvement, and it felt a little bit rushed because of that lack of communication. But if we can iron that out for the next one, the movie has a ton of potential to be an amazing movie, and the script is phenomenal. The cast and crew was amazing, so it's just a matter, just like with anything, relationships, work, whatever, it always comes down to, I think, communication and just understanding the work process of the people that we're working with and how to communicate with them better as an individual rather than just a blanket statement to the team. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the biggest one was learning about how when your experience on set and it does not always transcend to offset. Like when you're filming, it could be done. You could be done filming, and then once the editing process and all that comes in, like you got to like Seth said, communicate and be on the same team, same line of thought, because it changes so quickly once everybody's not in the same room. There's so many different things that affect the final product. It just it can be a lot. So that was definitely the biggest lesson of just like, oh, we got to follow through with this and learn. And it's also about having, I don't want to say more control, but just having more say. So that way you can be a part of that and make sure that one person doesn't run away with it.
Yeah. Now, as producers, how much did you get involved with the script?
The script was already written. Yeah.
So you guys didn't have to do any rewrites or offer any notes or any of that kind of stuff. You were able to just go, this is legit. Let's go.
Yeah, we had a couple,
nothing crazy.
Yeah, a couple of small line notes, but it was ready to go. I mean, they knew what they were doing. They wrote this like 10 years ago, so this is something that they had thought and they'd taken the time to just put together and track properly. And that's why we believed in it, because it was so well written.
That's fantastic. That's really good. Well, I do know I have a couple of people who worked on our film who have since worked on other films that if you guys need anybody, let me know, because I've also worked with people when we were doing the full cast audiobook of Death of a Bounty Hunter. There were a few people that I almost worked with that I learned in negotiations how terrible they would have been to work with. So I can give you some warnings on that as well. But we've been really lucky to work with. I think part of the problem with at least with my experience personally, is there's so many awesome people, just like you two, who are trying to get movies made. However, there's a fraction of people who are actually getting funding to be able to do the movies, right? And so, like, some of the people who get funding to do the movies are not the kinds of people that you and I would want to work with. That's just the truth of any kind of business environment, and especially if they're successful, right? If they make good films, then they may not be that fun to work with. But the positive way of saying that is there's so many awesome people in our industry doing amazing things that if you can find those people and that you can have especially if they have names, then from a production standpoint, that's really awesome. So we learned some of the same exact lessons in 2016 that you guys learned. So in fact, as I was thinking about just as a little bit of context to those listening or watching, we had a previous conversation with Seth and Justin, which was really really great. We're really appreciative of you guys taking the time with us to walk us through some of what your guys' thoughts were and things like that. And I think that it's meeting new people is amazing, and being able to collaborate with people is also amazing. And I appreciate you guys' time doing it, because it's been really fun.